Thank you, Herman. At BizNews' first conference, which is going back 3 years ago, because this is a celebration. It's 10 years that today, 10 years that BizNews started. When we spoke there, when you came out and gave that first presentation, you had a dream, a little bit like what Rob Hersov said earlier. What is your dream today? Let's look as he was 2-3 years into the future. How can you see things turning out?
Look, Alec, I wish I was a prophet. I just use common sense because I'm not a prophet. Very far from one. There isn't anyone in my family who was once a prophet. My dream is actually to see South Africans live in a democratic dispensation using their political privilege, voting politicians in and voting them out when they don't deliver. It is my dream to see our economy growing at 8-10% because it is highly possible for this kind of economy to grow at those kind of levels, but you've got to remove certain obstacles. You've got to take the unions out of this SA at the table. I'm happy to engage with the unions, and I'm happy if there's any one of you representing a union, just really know that you're an enemy with Herman Mashaba. No union will ever have a veto right on our economic policy. Please tell me about minimum wage. What is the minimum wage? 12 million South Africans. You know, I mean, I keep saying, and I've been saying this for many years, when people call Cyril Ramaphosa the businessman, and he talks about minimum wage. Has he ever paid someone to understand end of the month you've got the money to pay people? Because if your cost to me is a 5 rands, no government in the world is going to force me to give you 6 rands. I'm not going to employ you. And what happens with this minimum wage nonsense? Who it punishes? Poor and uneducated people. And that's a plan of the ANC to keep blacks poor and uneducated so that they don't improve their lives. Because if you don't give them or working opportunities, you don't give them education, so you're going to permanently keep them poor. And then what you do, you destroy small businesses. The small business that must employ unskilled people. So basically what you do, that's why Big Business and ANC are big friends. They're big friends. I spent a lot of my own personal money when I was still in business, taking Section 32 of the Labour Relations Act, where Big Business and COSATU and the ANC connived. They openly connive to take small businesses out. Because when you're running a corporate big business, you want skilled people. So anyone who's unskilled, they've got no chance. So what they do, they sign agreements, and they expect, you can imagine, when I started a cosmetic company in 1985, luckily I started my business at the time when COSATU wasn't a factor. And I used that myself as an example. You can imagine 1985. If I started, and I started a company called Black Luck Mina Place, about the size of this room, 200 square meters. I did not have government telling me how much I must pay people. Today, if someone wants to start a business under Section 32 of the Labour Relations Act, if I did not challenge it, that says no, I must pay the same salary as Unilever or Colgate, Palmolive, and so forth. So that kind of nonsense. So basically, what you do is you stifle small businesses and you deprive unskilled people of the opportunities. I really want to live in a country where we respect the rule of law, and I'm really determined and I'm unapologetic about this. If there's any atheist in this room, please don't make your problem mine. I'm committed to really bring God back into my country. It hurts me when I see this communists who have taken God out of our country and out of society. You know, when I started school in 1966, every morning before I go to class, we go to assembly and we ask for God's blessings. That's probably the reason why we're not as corrupt as this current government. And 2% of atheists in this country, you know, because 8% of South Africans believe in God in one form or another. Myself as a Christian, lots of Muslim friends, Jewish, Hindus, but ultimately all of us believe in God. But we expect 2% of the people to control us, because communists don't believe in God. And why they don't believe in God is because they want to control us. I'm sure you read the 10-point plan by this woman with the new way order.
Anthea Jeffrey.
No. I'll tell you the name. This English woman, she died in 1946, where, I mean, they did everything possible as part of the communist bloc to destroy the human spirit and destroy families and so forth. So, you know, it is my dream to ensure that ordinary South Africans can be able to work and provide for their families. They don't have to rely on government. They rely on government when it's really necessary, but not to really turn 12, 14-year-old children as pensioners. You know, children by the time they turn 20 in this country, they've got 3 children, a child having 3 children with 3 different fathers, not knowing a single one of them. There's just no way you're going to build a society. That's why we've got the highest, we are known all over the world to be the murder capital of the world. We are the rape capital of the world. Every time I look at women in South Africa, I'm saying, how many times has she been raped, or when is she going to be raped? That's why Becky Taylor can stand in front of national television, says, no, this one was like he was raped by one person. You know, I mean, what kind of society are we? And what I find really very scary about South Africans, and that's something Rob raised earlier on about the silence of captains of leaders in business. People were never scared of apartheid. They fought apartheid, went to jail, some got killed. Some went to prison. Today, with the constitution hailed as one of the best constitutions in the world, people are quiet. Why? They were not scared of guns, but they're scared of losing their job for speaking out. They are scared of the speaking out because obviously big business made a fortune out of being in their personal capacities. But obviously, I think South Africa as a country, it looks like all of us, black and white. We're a short-term nation. We want success today. We don't really plan for the future, because if you're a business leader, you believe in the ANC because obviously ANC is going to bring you tenders.
What do you think about that business support of the ANC at the moment, with a Neil Froneman getting involved, as Rob was saying earlier? What would your advice to those business leaders be?
They're failing South Africa. They are extending the suffering of poor black people, because what they're going to do, give an impression like they did in 2014, extend the life of the ANC, and the ANC is not going to change. ANC is going to get worse. So there's leaders of business working with the ANC. I can tell you one thing: history is going to judge them for doing what they're doing, because there's nothing good that's going to come out of this but the suffering of our people.
Herman, all the predictions are that the ANC is going to become largely a rural party. Now, Action South Africa...
ActionSA, we're not Action.
ActionSA. ActionSA. Apologies. Poor Ian Cameron, I called him a member of Action South Africa.
Well,
so he's Action Society. Did you steal his name?
I know some
Okay.
political parties deliberately wants to call us whatever. We ActionSA.
ActionSA. So ActionSA is starting, or rather the low-hanging fruit for ActionSA, if you look at the by-elections, surely is in the rural areas. What are you guys doing to take on the ANC there? And I say this because the EFF have been beating the ANC in some by-elections in rural areas because there's really two choices, EFF, ANC. What about ActionSA participating there, or what are your plans?
Well, I think I challenge any one of you, go into our website to look at all the by-elections in rural areas. The last one with deep rural Nongoma IFP stronghold. It's an IFP ward. It was the IFP, ANC, followed by the EFF. Everywhere where we contest as ActionSA, we knock everyone down. We're the only party always dropping ANC the support base. Few months ago, 4, 5, 6 months ago, we contested in Mulechi, rural Limpopo, the birthplace of Malema. Malema's grandmother is in this particular. We had not started doing work in that area. Our provincial chairperson says, guys, there's an opportunity. Let's go and contest there. We emerged as the third biggest political party. Last year, we contested in Nelson Mandela Bay, in Utenake, in Wanobutle. We emerged as the third biggest political party. So for us, it's not just stats. Not that I don't believe in research, because I've been in business almost 4 decades, and I can tell you, campaigns where I lost money, that's where I allowed my team to use research purely as a basis of that decision. So honestly, not that I don't believe in research, but I believe in common sense, because I've got campaigns. Even the time when I was with Colgate Palmolive, I was in partnership with them for 2 years. Working with this big international company, massive experience, and I listened to them, did a massive, very expensive research work, got one of the biggest advertising agency coming out with this campaign with elephants, and my goodness, I've never lost money like, oh, dude. So every time people to tell me about research, we do it, dipstick, spend a little bit of money just to have a sense. But common sense, go out there and talk to people and use your common sense. And that's really what we do as ActionSA. Every cent that we get, I operate this huge organization with 9 provincial structures. We have meetings literally every single day. Are you aware we don't have an office? People don't believe me when I tell them I don't have offices. I don't earn money out of this, but I've got big the salaries to pay. I've got, right now as I'm talking to you, I've got guys in Guguletu, in Soweto, in Alexander, in Sishiho, going house to house, not just registering people as ActionSA members. We're registering them with the IEC. What I do, I have to give them stipend, get them airtime, and so forth. While you guys are busy, they're punching numbers, they're doing research.
Yeah. And that's the future. I only heard it this past week that Bobby Gottsell is also driving a campaign to get people registered. So it appears like that penny has definitely dropped. But Johannesburg, if anybody's got an insight into the richest city in South Africa, it would be you as a former mayor. And the chaos that has happened subsequent to the new parties that have taken over there with really strange successes. How long is it going to take now? You already said before it was going to take a long time to fix. But how fixable is Johannesburg if you had the right mayor or the right governance?
Oh, Johannesburg it's fixable, but obviously it's not going to be a walk in the park. And it'll need a tough person like me who don't take nonsense. I'm sure you guys remember very well when I was a mayor. I fired the mayor in this country in a matter of 3 years. Fired 4 MMCs, 3 from my own party. My party, without my party's accepting. And I said to my party, this is not a party matter. Here's enough evidence. I'm not really acting unfairly. I was getting, it used to hurt me when black professionals, accountants, lawyers, I had to get them arrested because they've allowed the ANC to get them involved in corruption. Johannesburg, you need a tough person, not someone who brings in Ubuntu. We don't need Ubuntu to fix South Africa. Please forget about Ubuntu. We need a tough person to but fair, operate within the rule of law, put together professional people, put people on the basis of merit. Don't bring anything else. It must be merit-based. Please declare war immediately. Make it abundantly clear to get rid of ANC cadres. You must not really play games. I can tell you, and I mean at the time, because when I took over as a mayor, I didn't know what a mayor does and some of the laws. 2-3 months into office, lots of corruption cases being brought to my office, and the person in charge of dealing with corruption keeps on giving me excuses when I get this report. I called the city manager, everyone, probably 20-30 people. I fired her on the spot. I did not realize, I didn't know that the Section 56 managers in government, you can't fire them like you fire them in business. Yeah, I remember, in front of everyone with lawyers. I mean, this lady who was covering up ANC corruption and telling me that she does not have the capacity. But there were funded positions. And so I got her because I realized she's playing games with me. She didn't know me. Yeah? So I got her to present. After presenting her nonsense, I said to her, please, you know what? Within the next 30 minutes, I don't want to see you in this building. Go to your office, pick up, and leave. I don't want to see you. I didn't know that you can't do that in government. And you can imagine now the lawyers got really very nervous. You know why? God came to my rescue. Because, it would have been a big flouting of the rules, because a Section 56 in government, ANC made it almost impossible to get rid of them. But I can tell you other stories how I've managed to master this, do it within the law. So luckily, this particular one was fraudulently employed. She did not have a contract. That saved me. I did, But then when the lawyers warned me about this, I still got rid of them. And the media used to be very unkind to me that I'm getting rid of experienced people. I said, do experience with what? With stealing. Yeah. Yes, absolutely, they were experienced, but they were experienced thieves. And the media accusing me all the time. I've got to be on debating with the so-called experts why I'm getting rid of people. I was getting rid of thieves, and that's really the only way you can save Johannesburg. You've got to put in a mayor with a mandate, and I can tell you, if ActionSA is going to be part of that, that's something that we've got to declare that we must get is a matter of agency. To get rid of the cadres. Make sure that we capacitate group forensic. You remember I set up for the first time in the history of local government in South Africa to put in an independent crime-busting unit, put in professional people, independent, give them the powers, pay them well to ensure that they do their work. Unfortunately, we were let down by the National Prosecuting Authority because the city of Johannesburg did not have. Remember, I used to say to South Africa, said, please, one of the things that we need to change in our constitution, big cities like Johannesburg, please make sure that you give us the prosecutorial authority and prisons. You'll see how many ANC, our jails in South Africa will mostly, more than half of the prison population will be ANC people.